Good morning, folks. Hope you're doing well out there. My name's Sandy. This is Sawing with Sandy. I'm out here donating blood to the black flies and mosquitoes while admiring the sunshine and the red pine trees. This red pine plantation I do an awful lot of work in, and because of that, I'm often drawn to finding better solutions to get the trees out of the woods. Now, over the last few videos, you may have heard me talking about red pine thinning. Well, I'm actively doing that out here, albeit it is a bit slow with a one-person operation, but I am getting there. After I cut the trees down with a chainsaw, I come along with a forestry winch and I haul the tree up to the sawmill. Now that's fine and dandy, but there are times where getting in and out of the tractor gets a little bit tiring, a little bit onerous. And so this new tool, I'll call it, which I have hooked to the back of my tractor, is going to help me with that. It's going to allow me to stay in the seat, tractor seat that is, keep those black flies off me, and enjoy my hot sludge. Let's head on back and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. Now, this tool I've been looking at for a long time from a variety of different manufacturers, and I finally came up with the one and bought this one that I thought would work best for me. This is made by Woody Equipment out of Quebec, Canada. This was the model that I thought would work best for me based on its specifications, based on how well built it is. This is the one I bought. So this forestry grapple here has a 56-inch grapple on it. You'll also notice that it's got a 360-degree hydraulic rotation. Those were two things that I really wanted. I wanted the ability to reach out and get a big grab of something, whether it's brush or a pile of logs. I also wanted the ability to manipulate this grapple head without having to get out of the tractor. This thing with the controls in my tractor can rotate, as I said, 360, so I can grab logs that are perpendicular to the tractor, or I can have it in this position and grab them right behind the tractor. Now, a few other things on this unit here. You'll see the serrated edge along the bottom here. So depending on how good I get at things, I could actually butt a log up to there, lift it with the back end here, the grapple, and that'll lift the actual log right off the ground for things like sawing logs into firewood. A few other things you'll notice here. This does not have a winch on it, but there is a winch option that was out there. I believe it was a 4,000-pound winch that they offer. Mounts up here. I think some other options that I saw that I didn't think I needed was a push bar. So it more or less mounts out here a little bit. And they also had I think it was 24-inch telescopic option. I wanted something just plain, solid, 360-degree rotation with a big opening. And that's why I went with this model here. Now, a few things you'll notice that aren't here are the kickstands, I'll call them. I'll grab them in a minute, but you'll see that little tubular steel there with the hole? There's actually a kickstand which has a variety of holes in it to allow you to unhook this and keep the bottom off the ground. Oh, there's the kickstand that I was talking about. I don't have them in right now as I'm not using them. I'm going to go out and use it in the woods. I could actually just pull the pin and lift this upwards and keep it there, but I just have it right out of the way for now. If you've been around the channel, you may know that my Kioti tractor here, which is the DK40, it only has one set of rear remotes, but if you look back here, it appears that I have two. Well, that's a little bit of a trick. You see these long hoses here? Those long hoses run all the way to the front of my tractor, and what they're plugged into currently is my third function kit. My third function kit, which I newly installed, has these connection points, 3 of them. 2 of them are for a grapple. Well, I hooked those long hoses right into that connection point. And so inside my tractor on the joystick, the 2 buttons that are used to control the joystick run the 2 ports at the back. And that allows me to have a second set of hydraulic functions, which then allows me to control the 360-degree rotation in addition to the grapple opening and closing. So I'm going to fire up the tractor and then we'll get the hydraulics going here. And then you can see Alright, please excuse the mess here. On my joystick up here I have these 2 buttons. They're going to control the grapple opening and close. That is hooked up to that third function kit. Down here, this is the stock lever for the single rear remotes of my tractor. This is what I have currently hooked up to control the rotation of the grapple. I'm just going to rev this up here to where I normally have it. And so I'm going to be pressing these buttons in a moment. So that's the forestry grapple for you. I got the 56-inch opening. You can get a variety of different grapple sizes depending on your use. 56 just seemed to be the best option for me. It closes quite tight, opens quite wide, gives me the option for multiple logs or a bunch of brush. I could even go around and, well, pick up rocks if I wanted to, but overall this seemed like the perfect fit. Some things I liked about this particular model, the reason I bought this and not something else, was how robust it is, how beefy it is. This is going to take an awful lot of abuse out here in the woods. I wanted it to be really thick. It definitely is. There's gussets everywhere, right? You can see that there's greasable points everywhere as well. Small details like this, which lock the bolt in so it can't rotate, is quite nice. You know, I like the extra bracing here. I like how everything is boxed in nice, and that certainly swayed my decision. Now this particular grapple, you can actually get a different mount on it. So the forestry grapple, instead of the 3-point hitch, you can get a skid steer mount. If you wanted to mount it to the front of a tractor or a skid steer, you can do just that. Obviously in my case, the tractor is going to be the biggest tool since I don't own a skid steer. This is going to work really well for me, especially when I have my tight trails. I just cut down a row of pines and I want to skid them out. And so some will wonder, will this be replacing my forestry winch? No, it will not. This will be used in conjunction with it. This is quite a bit faster. It's easier on my body when I can reach the logs by driving to it. The forestry winch still has its place. Anytime I can't drive to a log and I need to pull it somewhere, I will certainly be using the forestry winch. This just saves me getting in and out of the tractor, running the choker chains, and doing all that up and down work, walking around in and out of the tractor. That's where I think the real value is. You'll notice if you go to a real logging site, not so much my area, but a real logging site with big commercial equipment, they often have multiple types of skidders, cable skidders as well as your grapple skidders, and that's because they're used in a variety of different situations. So I think the proof is in the pudding, as they say. So let's get out. We'll get to a small trail. I've got some red pine logs. We'll get the wood out of there and then we'll pile it up. And just before we do that, some of you may wonder, why not just use the grapple on the front end loader of your tractor? Well, the truth is most logs that I pick up, 10, 12 foot lengths, just a little bit more, they're not going to fit sideways down my trails. And they're certainly not going to be easy to maneuver, especially if the trail was close to that measurement. You have to have pretty wide open space to carry logs sideways on the front of a tractor. And if you look down my trails, I don't exactly have that like anywhere. So that's why this thing is going to be so valuable. Let's get down to work. Well, that's a pretty good start, I'd say. I don't quite know the controls yet because that's my very first time with it. All I've done at this point is taken it off the pallet and put it on the tractor. Things went well though. I had to manipulate the 3-point hitch up and down. I also have a control for the grapple rotation as well as grabbing onto the logs. And so those different controls I have to learn. As I do, I'll get a bit better with it. Overall, very happy with it. You probably saw me at times. I was using the 360 rotation to manipulate the logs so that it didn't rub up against existing trees. That was a nice feature, something I was happy to know paid off. Other things I liked about it, how wide it was. That allowed me to reach out and really pull logs into the center when the logs weren't perfectly tight together. I could bring them all into a nice bunch. As you can see, we have, how many we got here? 5 logs, 5 small logs, 4 small logs. You could probably take one more in there, and in no time with that tool, obviously I can get a good pile going. Come back around, tighten it up with the forks. With this trail being a bit wider, I can come in with those forks, haul the logs down to the sawmill. Alternatively, with it set up like this, I could have just turned right and continued dragging it. But for now, I just wanted to pile it up because I have other logs down there already. Some other things I'll probably learn as I go is the angle of approach, coming up to logs to pick them up. I don't quite know exactly where to position the tractor yet to maximize my efficiency. And that will come with any piece of equipment. You learn it as you go and you find out what to do and what not to do. I'll also learn special techniques, I'm sure, when I'm cutting down trees, how to have them positioned so that I can pick them up easier. But as I said, with time comes practice and I'll get a bit better with it. Now, I haven't had a chance to really butt a log up here yet. I think I might have butted one up there, and that worked out quite well. It lifted the whole log up off the ground. I'm sure I'll practice that a little bit more. But overall, this seems like it's going to be a great time saver. Aside from having to move the camera, I wouldn't have had to get out of the tractor, and that would have been the nice thing. I know many of you may say, well, you're just getting lazy not using the skidding winch. Well, the truth is, it's not about lazy, it's about longevity. I plan on having tools like this forever. I'm not going back in time, so I'm going to be getting older. And if I can save my body a little bit of effort, which means I can stay out here longer, that's going to be a good thing. So I think this will be that tool, that time saver, effort saver, back saver, and just make it a little more enjoyable out here for me. Now, the only thing I will say here, I don't prefer to skid trees or logs in this case in the warm months when there's no snow, because inevitably you do get a bit of debris, dirt on the end of the log. And you don't want that from a sawmill perspective or even firewood perspective. So I think for now, this is going to do the trick. I'm going to continue trying to pick up the log at the best spot so I minimize the amount of dirt getting into the log. And then I'll be out here in the winter as well. And I think that's where this will really shine as well, because I can skid without having any dirt at all in the log. So that's going to do it for me here today. Quite enjoyable being out here with the new tool. Finally finding out that it paid off after all that research, all that effort, and making sure you're going to get a good return on your investment. I'm sure my back is thanking me. It probably tells me it's invaluable. My wallet is probably saying otherwise. But anyways, it was fun being out here. I'm glad you all joined me for it. Do me that big favor. Give me the old like-a-roo. Make sure you subscribe and bring the bug spray. See you next time.